Today, we're going to deconstruct a really brilliant marketing case study. How in the world does a massive tech company like Nokia get people fired up about a new digital product, not on a screen, but right there on the street? Well, let's dive in and break it down.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get the lay of the land with the case study itself. Then we'll decode the big idea behind it all and figure out where they decided to fight this marketing battle. From there, we'll get into the on-the-ground details, look at the cool experiences they built, and finally, wrap it all up with the big takeaways for anyone in marketing. Okay, so let's set the scene. One of the biggest hurdles for any tech company is making their stuff feel, well, real. How do you take something that's all about circuits and code and make it feel tangible, something people can get genuinely excited about? That was the exact puzzle Nokia was trying to solve. And that was the fundamental question driving their entire strategy. They could have just run a bunch of online ads, right? But no, they decided they needed to get out there to create a direct physical connection with people. They had to get their hands dirty. So the strategy they landed on is something the industry calls below-the-line marketing, or BTL for short. Basically, it just means you skip the big, splashy mass media stuff like TV commercials. Instead, you focus on creating direct, personal interactions with very specific groups of people. It's marketing you can actually touch and experience. So what was this big idea of Nokia's? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was actually a really clever three-pronged attack designed to grab people's attention and pull them in from a few different angles. And honestly, this was a masterclass. First, they hit him with nostalgia. They brought back classic Nokia games. We all remember Snake, right? That immediately gets people feeling good about the brand. Then, bam, they pivot to the future with hands-on demos of all the new phones. And to top it all off and create a real vibe, they use these fun, simple games to draw a crowd and make it feel like an event. Okay, but a brilliant idea is pretty useless if you're in the wrong place, talking to the wrong people. So that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle, the battleground. Where did Nokia decide to roll out this whole campaign? The location was absolutely everything. They didn't just set up shop in some fancy, sterile mall. Nope. They went straight to where their target group, or TG, was already hanging out. We're talking colleges, busy local markets, even right in the middle of residential communities. It's a classic BTL move. You go to the people, you don't make them come to you. So they've got the idea, they've got the locations. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the execution. How did they actually pull this off, day in and day out, in all these different spots? The absolute heart of this whole operation was a fleet of custom Nokia vans. And I want you to picture this. These weren't just boring white vans. They were basically mobile fun zones on wheels. They were decked out with 3D designs and perfectly lit displays that were designed to catch your eye from a block away and make the new phones look incredible. And the team inside each van, a total well-oiled machine. You had 3 promoters whose job was to start conversations, demo the phones, and get people's info. Then you had one charismatic anchor. Think of them as the MC or hype person, getting the crowd pumped up. And finally, a supervisor to make sure everything ran smoothly and, crucially, to handle the social media side of things. So you have this tight 5-person crew. And this is so key. Because they were small and specialized, each van was like its own little self-contained marketing engine. It meant they could be agile, set up fast, and most importantly, it guaranteed that everybody who stopped by got some personal attention and didn't just feel like another face in the crowd. But this campaign was more than just playing a few games and holding a phone. Nokia was really smart about this. They layered in some cool tech experiences to make the whole thing truly memorable and shareable. They used technology in 2 really brilliant ways. First, they had a VR journey that literally took you inside the smartphone, showing off the manufacturing and the tech. It felt super futuristic. On the other hand, they had a virtual selfie booth. This was genius. People could take a selfie with a famous local landmark in the background. And of course, what's the first thing you do? You post it online with a hashtag, which was a clever way to get free organic promotion. And just to keep the energy high and the vibe fun, they had this rotation of really simple visual minute-to-win-it games. Stuff anyone can do, like a hula hoop competition or balancing a ball. It was perfect for pulling in people who were just walking by and creating this fun, low-pressure atmosphere. Okay, so we've torn apart the what, the where, and the how of this whole thing. Now let's step back and pull out the big lessons. If you're a marketer or just interested in this stuff, what are the key strategic takeaways here? When you really boil it all down, the success of this campaign rests on 5 pillars. 1, they brilliantly mixed that old-school brand nostalgia with cool new tech. 2, they went to their audience instead of waiting for them to show up. 3, they made the whole thing interactive and turned it into a game. 4, they built in moments that people would naturally want to share on social media. And 5, they had a super well-structured and specialized team to pull it all off without a hitch.
You know, there's a line from their actual internal campaign brief that just sums it all up perfectly. It said, "Let's embark on an experiential journey." And that's exactly what they did. Their goal wasn't just to run an event, it was to take people on a memorable journey. And that really leaves us with one big thought, doesn't it? In a world where we are all so plugged in and digital, this Nokia case study is a powerful reminder that there is still immense value in a real-world handshake. It proves that sometimes the most powerful connection a tech brand can make isn't through Wi-Fi at all.